and welcome to this fresh episode of Point Counterpoint. We are here to discuss an ongoing issue which has probably taken a lot of man-hours in the assembly, even outside. And we are talking of the potential loss of the Mhadei river because of the manner in which this Mhadei diversion has been handled. With Karnataka literally given a carte blanche to tamper with our Mhadei in the manner that they feel. That is the common opinion on the street. Of course, a DPR has gone in their favor. They are allowed right now, on paper at least, to divert the Mhadei waters from Goa to their basins in Karnataka to ostensibly provide for drinking water. Now, this is just not a water fight between Goa and Karnataka. The fight is beyond this. And while we have had many discussions on Karnataka's rights, Goa's rights, whether Goa handled it properly, whether Goa handled it legally, those discussions are going on and they will continue to go on. However, one aspect of this whole Mhadei issue which is probably not got as much attention that it deserves, and in fact much more than the legal attention that we are giving, is the fact that if this goes on, if this diversion of the Mhadei river or its tributaries happens, it will lead to a very, very severe impact on Goa's ecology, environment, marine life, hydrology, and so on and so forth. And that is something we need to be completely aware of, because what people don't understand is that it is not just a simple matter of diverting the river, as it were, or its tributary, as it were. The long-term devastation is absolutely imminent. There are many issues that we will discuss with some of the most eminent people to speak on the subject. We could talk about salinity. We could talk about destruction of fish and marine life. We could even talk about the destruction of the Mhadei forest, as it were. All of which comes into play. So the point is, we have to link this decision to the overall devastation that is going to befall Goa. And I'm not just sounding alarmist. All these points are going to be scientifically and properly argued upon and presented from people who know this much more than I or many of our viewers would. And that is where it lies, that we have to look at these things threadbare. We have to look at scientifically, beyond the politics, beyond the shouting, which is one reason why we took special care not to invite politicians here, but people who are experts on the subject, and not only professionally, but also emotionally. So without any further ado, I'll introduce our panelists. On my right is Rajan Bab Kerkar. I will just call him an environmental crusader because he needs no other introduction. With the amount of work that he's done, everybody in Goa knows what he does. Next to him, of course, is another person who doesn't need an introduction, Ramesh Kausbab. We call him an environmentalist, but I think a better title would be he is really a true son of the Mhadei and has done whatever he could to protect the river from absolute destruction in his many avatars. On my left is retired Range Forest Officer Prakash Salilkar Bab, who's very well known for his dedicated work in the forest to preserve, protect, and of course he will have a lot to speak about on many of the issues that we are discussing, especially from the forest and wildlife. And last but certainly not the least, Dr. Manoj Ibrahimpurkar is an Associate Professor of Geology in the Dempe College, has focused and studied, deep dived into Mhadei, in his PhD thesis, and of course he will speak a lot about the whole diversion, impact on water, hydrology, and so on and so forth. But let us, apart from our specializations, all of them are not only keen but knowledgeable about virtually every aspect that we talk about. I'll start with Rajan Bab on my right. Rajan Bab, I have no specific question to ask, but if you could just touch upon that main point on, while the argument is going on politically and legally, the long-term impact is going to be very, very serious.
Now the argument is on the DPR, and everyone in Goa wants that DPR should be withdrawn.
Right.
I don't understand how the DPR that is given, the central government will withdraw it. Only the thing by which the DPR can be challenged is they included in the DPR, Karnataka included in DPR the Sulla Nala, which is actually not there in the award. So award that is given on the 14th of the August in 2018 mention only Kalsa, Bhandura and Haltara. So only 3 rivers, and they are permitted to take 3.9 TMC feet of the water.
Right.
So there is no mention of the Sulla river. So Goa government should...
And Surla is one river which flows only through Goa.
Yeah, it flows through the Goa, though the catchment area of the river falls in Karnataka.
Right.
The river mainly originates in Goa and flows inside the Mhadei Wildlife Sanctuary. And in such a case, how these people, the Karnataka, involve this river? So actually they are allowed to divert only Kalsa, Bhandura and Haltara. So this they included, and that is why the Goa's case is very strong. The Goa government should challenge the DPR with the central government, also to the Supreme Court, that the river which is not there in the tribunal award, they included it in. And that is why now the focus should be on this issue, rather withdraw the DPR. That will not serve the purpose, because allocation is already made, and when allocation is made, unless and until you prepare for the Supreme Court, it is very difficult to challenge all these things.
Right. Ramesh, what is the long-term impact? See, we are talking about these important issues, but long-term impact both in terms of forest, wildlife and the river.
Yes.
What are the long-term dangers that you see?
Drinking water. So, Rajendra did not mention it, but what is happened is that 6 talukas are going to badly get affected due to this diversion, drinking water as far as concerned. Second thing is that I'm just quoting what is given in the pleading of the Goa state.
Right.
As you talked on ecology and everything,
Yes.
It's a complete ecological devastation. These are the words in the pleading of state Goa.
Right.
Secondly, they have used one word, that this issue is a national importance issue.
Right.
So to this extent, if it is going
This
on,
is the pleading in the NWD.
yes,
Okay.
yes, Goa state pleading. Second thing is that see, Rajendra did not mention it, but otherwise 43,500 hectares of the very fragile forest is going to get deserted. 43,500 hectares
of the forest.
of the forest,
Right.
which is drained by this Mhadei.
Right.
That is going to get deserted.
Right.
The next thing is that, as it is mentioned in the pleading,
Right.
I'm just quoting it.
from the yes.
Yeah, marine life will be totally disturbed. Then your mangroves, flora, fauna, everything is mentioned in this. Then second thing is that, according to the pleading, by 2050, there is also a mistake. In one paragraph they say that 2050, and in another paragraph they say 2051.
Right.
The requirement of the water is 2,764 million cubic meter.
CC or CM?
CM.
CM.
CM. And it will be, they'll fall short of 1,500 million TM.
Who will fall short?
Goa.
Goa.
For drinking water by that time.
Right.
And the 194 villages are given there,
Right.
which are also going to get affected.
3 talukas.
Yeah.
3 talukas.
See. The 6 talukas.
6 talukas.
6 talukas.
Okay.
6 talukas. And worst is that your wildlife sanctuary, Mhadei Wildlife Sanctuary, will be
become dry.
good for nothing.
Right.
Then again, the second one is also going to go.
Right.
So this is how the whole impact will be felt by all. In even saline water increasing, it is also mentioned there.
Right.
It will be too heavy.
Yeah, I'll get to that.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, but I just wanted to ask you one thing. Is that since this is there in the pleading,
Yeah.
and obviously this has not been taken heed of, do we have the option, does Goa have the option to approach both the Supreme Court or the NGT on this?
Rajendra is very positive. I use one word, tragic optimist. I am a tragic optimist. I don't find anything
Right.
much positive
Correct.
in favor
Rajendra,
of
a quick response to this, then I'll go to
Goa.
Prakash Babu.
Yeah,
You feel?
because the whatever aspect which are addressed by sir, if they are properly documented, because for last so many years no documentation has been done scientifically,
Right.
and that is why our whatever pleadings that are put forward, they are I don't know will be standing in the Supreme Court,
Why not?
because no study has been carried
Right.
out.
no state.
You are essentially saying they are general observations without any study.
Yeah,
Right.
most of the pleading whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Prakash Babu, I'll come to you straight away. You could respond to any of these points, but most importantly, since your subject is forest, if you could just kindly just tell us or put your finger on the impact this is going to happen, on the Mhadei and on the forests.
First of all, the impact on Mhadei's water will be, if it is diverted, then the less of water will be there in the Mhadei, which joins the saline water of Mandavi. Automatically, the water from the saline water from Mandavi will go high up to the Ganges and beyond because of lack of this water.
Right.
So automatically salinity will be less, and due to that the marine life will be very much hampered.
You mean salinity will be more, you're saying?
Salinity,
Yeah.
when salinity is more,
Yeah.
the our local fishes, whichever are there, within the limits of the Mhadei, will be highly affected.
Right.
And even आमच्या गोंयांत ते चडणेचें नुस्तें म्हणून आसा न्ही, त्या चडणे नुस्त्याचेर हाय एफेक्ट जातलो. सो दॅट इज द रिजन वाय दी स्वीट वॉटर should be allowed to enter within in the saline, because the salinity of the water, if it is increased, then this chanak, then shouto, all this will be finished.
Right.
Because the salinity will be high.
Right.
So that is the reason why we have to protect the, in respect of forest. Forest, after all, forest is also requires water to grow and be nice to the wildlife. Because Mhadei Wildlife Sanctuary has got 5 tigers, it is recorded. There are 5 tigers in the Mhadei Wildlife Sanctuary, which is the habitat within the limits of this Mhadei on either side.
Right.
So obviously these animals, the prey, when there is predator, there should be a prey. So tiger is there, that means the herbivores are lack in number. When the high amount of herbivores are there, they require water, high water. So if it is not available, also the greenery, whichever is required to predate by the herbivores, it is also necessary. So if the water is less, automatically the green cover will be,
So the whole ecosystem goes.
yes, finished.
Right.
So when this ecosystem is affected, due to that further, these tigers may not be there. Once this all devastation takes place, the tigers will not be there. That means we will be lack of the wildlife. Secondly, this river water also carries so many alluvials.
Right.
During the flooding of river, that water brings these alluvials and deposits it on the banks. So that helps the agriculturist and this one,
Right. Right.
horticulturist,
Right.
to get the nice alluvials,
Right.
which will not be there.
Right. Okay. So we'll come back to these just opening remarks. Dr. Manoj Ibrahimpur, you are based on your studies, especially on with regard to water. Do you actually feel that there's going to be a huge impact because of the change in the water conditions to our marine life and marine life, animals, fish, and so on and so forth?
Yes, definitely.
And the overall impact this.
Yes, definitely. When we interfere with nature, there are going to be impacts of those changes on the overall environment. There is no doubt about that. But the point is, have we quantified it? That is what where we fall short, I feel. You know, this issue has been going on for last 30 or more than that, 30 years.
Yes.
There is no committee or a group of scientists that has been appointed exclusively to study all the aspects of the environment.
Right.
All the work has been done by environmentalists like, you know, Rajendra Bab or Prakash Bab. You know, people have been shouting, but there is nothing on record of the government that this is what exists. First time we have heard someone who says there are 5 tigers. You know, there is hardly any data about the ecological aspects, environmental aspects of the entire Mhadei system. What we should understand is that a river flows throughout the year, but we receive water only during 4 months or 4 or 5 months these days.
Right.
The rest of the 7 or 8 months it flows because there is a system working there. When it rains, the water percolates into the ground, and the rest of the 7-8 months it seeps out from the ground, and it keeps the entire ecosystem, you know, sustaining life. Now the quantity of water that has been proposed to be diverted, you know, it may look very small if you compare to the entire amount, but we have to understand that during non-monsoon season this water is very little, and if we are going to divert it, there will be definite effect on the various components of the environment. So it's not only the quantity of water, like Sir said, you know, the sediments that are carried are very, very important. The sediments contain nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, silica, which are very important for the entire life cycle. You know, the phytoplanktons absorb these nutrients, and the entire cycle runs. So we are going to disturb the entire life cycle in the system, and that is what is ecology.
Right.
And we cannot ignore these important aspects.
Tell us a little bit about salinity, because that's one subject you have studied. You
Yes.
have a view on this.
Yes, I have been discussing this issue with many people, and I've done some work, fundamental work. Right now, the salinity of in Mandovi River is up to 40 kilometers from the mouth of the river. That is almost up to Gange. Now, why it is up to there and why it doesn't go higher right now is because above that the river bed is much above the sea level. So technically, as I understand, water cannot move further. So even if you reduce these water flow, the salinity will not go further, but yes, there will be an impact in the mixing zone. Wherever the fresh water comes and the saline water comes, in the mixing zone, yes, there will be definitely an effect. Of course, because of the reduction in the flow.
Right.
So,
and what impact will it have on the fish life?
Yeah, to be very frank, I am not an a biologist,
right?
No, but it is a well-known fact that every microclimatic condition is important for a species. You know, there are so many endemic species to Western Ghats, more than 1,500, and they are there because certain conditions exist there.
Right.
If we are going to interfere with those conditions, definitely there will be an effect.
Okay. Rajma, coming to you, I just want to touch upon the whole issue of dams that were supposed to be built. Apparently in 1999 there was a report where I think 60 odd dams were proposed, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 61 dams were proposed, out of which only 2 dams have been built. Now can you just throw light on, if we had done our dam projects well, how could it have helped us today?
So as far as the dam is concerned, whatever dams planned by the government, they are mostly in the Mhadei Wildlife Sanctuary area. So just like we have opposed the Karnataka, in the same way I will oppose whatever damming diversion project they are planning in the wildlife sanctuary, because earlier the Goa government want to destroy the large tract of the forest in Saraune and want to build a dam. So I opposed it. So though the Goa government plan 61, the government should look into the feasibility. Wherever the wildlife sanctuaries are not there, they can build a dam, but they should not hamper the ecosystem. For example, if you build a dam near the Kothambi area, that will going to create a lot of problem, because there one side the Khandepa river coming, another side the Mhadei river coming. So while building the dam, they should take the proper location,
Right.
and it should not disturb the ecosystem. So
Right.
whatever the planning has been done, this planning looks very nice on the paper, but in reality it will going to create losses for the wildlife and the ecosystem. So
So you are saying that this damming is not.
not possible.
Not possible.
So wherever possible, they should look into it and take the necessary permission, and then initiate the, all this thing. Whatever presently the water, wherever water is available, they should plan the damming in a such a way that it should not affect the wildlife and ecosystem.
Okay, but Karnataka is also doing the same thing.
Yeah, Karnataka is doing same thing.
See,
That is-
for instance, I mean, water is getting diverted. For instance, I was reading the Haltara river is being diverted from Chorla to Kankumbi
yeah.
because of damming there.
Yeah.
Okay, so essentially they are also diverting water through the Virdi dam.
Yeah.
So these are two things.
No, Karnataka is not diverting water from Viridi Dam.
Okay.
They are taking the water of Chorla,
Sure.
that is the Haltar Nala, to Kalsa, and from Kalsa they will be taking it to the
Malprabha.
3.5 kilometer long pipeline they are putting, huge pipeline they are putting, and they are taking the water to Kankumbi interconnecting canal, and
Right.
underground this water will release into the Malaprabha
Basin. Yes.
So
Correct.
it is a funny thing. So
Yes.
that is why we are opposing. And whatever these pipeline and damming, all these sites they are proposed, it is inside the reserve forest of the Karnataka. So that is why I am
They also
opposed.
wanted to Ramesh Babu, build one dam near Dodamarg, and they had said that that dam will be useful. A part of it can be diverted to the Anjune dam and help us.
Yeah.
There also they have fooled us, I think.
Yeah, actually the Maharashtra government
Yes.
built the dam in Viridi.
Virdi.
So actually it was a plan earlier to build a dam 500 meter away from the border of the Goa.
Right.
And that will going to submerge the large area of the Viridi village. So that is why when I told the villager, they assembled and they shouted and they approached their government and they said, no, we will not going to allow this dam.
Right.
So when the opposition was very loud and clear,
Right.
the proposal was given away by the Maharashtra. Actually, when Pratap Singh Rane was the chief minister and
Right.
Vilasrao Deshmukh was the chief minister in Maharashtra,
Right.
the memorandum, that is understanding, was there,
Right.
and it was allowed. But when the people shouted, Maharashtra, without informing Goa government, changed the damming site and took the dam to the 7 kilometer away from the border of Goa.
Correct.
But that also will going to create the problem. And what they have done, without obtaining environment clearances, without obtaining any statutory clearances, Maharashtra completed 80% work of the dams in Viridi.
But didn't Goa react that time?
That time when I brought to the notice of the Goa government took it lightly, and then Chief Minister in a public meeting, Keri, said that I am not fully literate, so educated, and that is why I am that dam will going to help the Sakri to minimize the flooding.
Right. Okay. Ramesh. So from one illiterate person, I'll come to the second illiterate person. So Ramesh Babu, see, you have your point to make. Then I'll ask you my question.
Point to
Yes,
make,
yes.
you can ask me, and simultaneously I'll make a point on.
Oh no, you make the point first.
See,
Okay.
if you if you have heard it now,
Yes.
what Rajendra said,
Yes.
this is what is a mess that
Yes,
Goa government
yes.
is creating,
Yes.
and he is opposing it. Now, if you don't have a very clear-cut scientific approach to anything, whatever he spoke about, then how can you have a very sound opposition to Mhadei and Kalsa?
Correct.
Mhadei river.
Yes.
So you don't have anything. You don't have any scientific approach. You are doing the same thing what Karnataka government is doing with Mhadei.
And as you have all have been saying, there's not enough data to support your
Yeah,
arguments.
That is what I have been saying
Yes.
on all the
Right.
channels.
Correct.
Channels. No data. So that is the biggest. I would say that it is the biggest fraud. Biggest fraud. You go call them you don't know anything, you are ignorant about anything. No politician in Goa, let me tell you, no politician in Goa knows what is what about Goa.
Correct.
Is there any comprehensive understanding of what is the river and what are their importance?
No,
and
with
what
all
is the
due
role?
respect to elected representatives,
Yeah.
one would like to ask how many of the elected representatives have actually studied the Mhadei issue from all aspects. Let's ask this.
Why ask? I tell, I boast it, that there's none of them have studied anything about Mhadei, the issue.
Right.
Well, let me tell you, this might be just out of this thing. When I was making my presentation on mining, 1 hour mining presentation, there was CM and other 2 persons also.
Right.
I said very clearly, if you find anything wrong in this one, you give me, bring it out, and if you bring it out, I'll stop my everything and I will not speak a word on mines. They did not accept my challenge. All 40 MLAs, let them sit on side, I'll be on this side. So this is what is happening in Goa, and why I said that it is a so-called as ecological disaster. It is a social and political disaster when your politicians are not wise enough or not studious enough.
Right.
Right. So this is a bad signal for coming generations. Well, we are not speaking about ourselves,
That's
our
right.
generation.
Correct. Absolutely. I mean, our children and grandchildren will ultimately have to suffer.
Definitely.
Yes,
What is it?
Bishop, coming to the issue of now forests and
Yeah.
wildlife, it's been constantly reported in different media as well, and we've also looked at it. This whole notification of Mhadei and the whole issue of reserving it as a tiger reserve and as a sanctuary. Now, why has this? So, what is the status thus far, and what could have happened to, what should have been done to ensure that, the Wildlife Protection Act itself would have been our biggest tool to protect Mhadei.
So what to say? I have gone, as I said, it is in the pleading one.
Right.
Everything is mentioned about flora, fauna, butterflies,
Right.
flying squirrels and everything.
Right.
But there is not a single mention about tigers.
Right.
It is not mentioned.
Right.
Not even ecologically sensitive areas.
Right.
Now in Sattari they say that we don't want ecological sensitive
Right,
areas.
right.
But those areas, which are these areas which will be damaged due to this Mhadei Karsa Bandara project? These villages will be ruined. You mentioned 194. It is abrupt.
Right.
But tell us which are these one. Then so come out with those all facts and figures. But that is also not
So,
there.
what is this issue about this tiger reserve issue? In the sense that, see, the point is everybody is saying that if this was notified, then
Yes.
then we would have had a better chance as far as diversion of water is
Your
concerned.
possibility, there was a possibility.
Yes.
But now, see, if I want mining, that's my priority, because mining makes you, what to say, that a person with crores and crores of rupees. Earlier, what people used to say, Kokni,
Right.
पैसे खरे नहीं उठता. Now they use shawl. This is the biggest difference in this one. And they want at least 17 to 18 leases are there. Possibly they want to activate them. So that is why they don't want either eco-sensitive zone or tiger reserve, whatever it is. So they are opposed to that.
But how long has this been pending, this tiger reserve notification issue?
That depends on government.
No, I'll ask him because he was in. No, my question is the same. My point is that what is the impediment or what is the problem in notifying this as a reserve?
No, before declaring any tiger reserve, that particular area should be national park.
Okay.
And then it can be converted to tiger reserve.
Right.
However, we don't have, and tiger reserve cannot be a small area
Right.
as a tiger reserve.
Right.
It should be wide and long.
Right.
Because once you are declaring a tiger reserve, at least we have got 5 sanctuaries, out of which 4 sanctuaries can be connected together
Right.
to form a corridor for tiger.
Right.
But to do all these things, there should be a scientific data collected through all the sanctuaries that this is the area right for the wildlife,
Correct.
tiger reserve. This particular thing is not done. Even the rights of the people within the sanctuary. Now the Bhagwan Mahavir Wildlife Sanctuary was declared in 1969. And till date, that rights are not reserved. When rights are not reserved, how you can, convert the area to a tiger reserve? Now why these rights are not, there is no answer for it. Till date, now new sanctuaries, Mhadei and Netravali is declared somewhere in 1999. What is the year today?
Right.
So 23 years, we could not even, settle the rights of the people. Once the people's rights are not settled, other things are, not possible. Tiger reserve cannot be done because the tiger reserve has got so many restrictions to be. People should be taken into consideration. People should be asked. Then there should be Gram Sabhas to be conducted.
And public hearings.
Public hearings are required.
Right.
When we cannot even, settle the rights of the people, where we will go through all these procedures. And due to that procedure only, that is pending. But Goa government has not shown its, what is called? Interest in reserving it. However, Forest Department has, prepared a plan of this tiger reserve.
Right.
And submitted to some of the organization, but nothing has came out yet.
Right. But isn't there a rule which says that if a particular area is notified as a tiger reserve, you cannot be diverting any water from there at all? Isn't there a
Actually, there are rules, but even in the tiger reserve, in various parts of India, you can see the functioning of the mining has been allowed. If you go to Panna, there it is there, but it is all depend upon how you present the case. For example, as far as the Mhadei forest or the Western Ghat part of this area is concerned, the WWF International DC Washington, they long back gave the report that now the safe corridor and safe habitat for the tiger in the Western Ghat is this patch of the area connecting Maharashtra, Goa and Karnataka. So you can initiate the movement by which all this area will be connected and the tiger corridor, tiger habitat will be protected. But what happened now, right from 2002 when I applied under RTI, the government said, where are the tigers in Goa? No tigers in Goa. Even now, Goa government not ready to accept the tiger present. Forget about the tiger reserve.
Right. They say tigers are our guests. They come from other states.
All
visit us in Goa.
Last 3 decades, the Goa government saying the tigers are tourists. So when Lieutenant General Jacob told me that how you say that the tigers are coming to Goa, then I presented him the nail that of the tiger that was killed in the Pisulli, Wagurme area. Wagurme got Wagure got the name because the village is the tiger village. So there is a tradition in that village in Wagure that no one should kill the tiger. So tiger was killed after the moving out of the area, and I purchased the nail of the tiger and offered it. It was a crime, but I offered it to the then Forest Secretary of Goa. So who told the governor, and Alban Kuto was there. So they were convinced. And
that led to the initial notification for the wildlife sanctuary.
1999.
Correct. And that notification was never confirmed, right?
No, it is not confirmed. You take the case of Karnataka. In Karnataka, in 2012, the notification came, and immediately in 2010, the notification came, and 2012 they issued the final notification.
Right, but that has not still been non enough.
That is one thing that I told Rajendra, but I couldn't get just a photograph. I'm sorry. When I was in 10th in 1969-70, very close to my house is one gentleman. He's a hunter. He had a photograph at an older style. Tiger, when hunted, he used to dress and put a leg on it, gun in hand. So in 69-70, if there is a tiger in Bicholim Sarvan, that is a small village, how can you deny that things?
Correct. Dr. Manoj, coming back to the issue of essentially of water. Now, see, the whole battle we are calling it as a war for water. Okay, if you could just tell us, since we may not be aware, that, when you deep dived into Mhadei and did those studies, what were the major takeaways from those studies which you find it useful in assessing this current situation that has happened?
Actually, I started right from understanding what is Mandavi and what is Mhadei.
Right.
Most of us, many of the people in Goa do not understand that, that Mhadei is the beginning, and when Mhadei meets Khandepar further down, it is called as Mandavi. Right from there I started, and I realized that, there is hardly any data. So I started quantifying data. How much water, there was some report of CWC long back that how this much of water is flowing through Mhadei. There is only one river gauging station in Goa, that is at Gange, and that data was some old data. So we actually had to measure some water at various places. I took my students and measured at the Goa-Karnataka boundary how much water is coming from Karnataka. So in fact, this should be done by the government.
Right.
There should be river gauging stations, many river gauging stations. There is hydrology project. Crores of rupees have been spent on hydrology project.
Right.
But these basic things have not been done yet.
Right.
River gauging stations, rainfall stations, only few rainfall stations here and there. You do not get reliable scientific data.
Right.
So that is what was lacking. That is what I found first thing. Then we started generating data about the streams and small minor things about. What I realized is the Mhadei, which is in Karnataka, is rich. It's a rich environmental zone. So it's as it comes down, we in Goa we have more developed, as we put it, but there it is more pristine, and we are now going to destroy it. So that is really not acceptable. I will come back to the point of dams. I was also shocked to know that Goa government is going to propose 2 more dams.
Right.
It's really foolish. We have understood in our state itself,
Right.
bandharas, what we
Right.
call as bandharas, are a very good model of storing water and using them,
Right.
because they do not inundate the adjoining land.
Right.
When you build a dam, water floods the adjoining land, which destroys forest, settlement areas, agricultural land. The people are to be displaced.
Right.
So there are multiple effects of dams, bigger dams. So when we know that bandharas are so useful, and we can ultimately what we want is water, and if we can serve that purpose through small bandharas, why go for big dams?
Correct.
Madam like Medha Patkar and all have been fighting for this major cause.
Sure.
I don't know how people are not able to understand these basic things.
Tell me, we are talking of the whole diversion and the devastation is going to happen. Tell us a little bit about what impact it will have on our smaller rivers, because there are Goa is full of rivers, lakes, underground water, and so on and so forth, and also a lot of water is needed for irrigation in the rural areas. What will be the overall impact on these water channels when the diversion?
Yeah. So as I said, we get a lot of rainfall, but we rely on the non-monsoon flow in the river.
Yes.
Okay, as you dam this streams in the upstream region, there will be a shortage of water in the downstream region.
Right.
So there are, Rajendra Bhai will tell you how many people depend on agriculture
Right.
in our state.
Sure.
Then there are Khazan lands, which itself is a unique ecosystem.
Correct. Which is getting destroyed
Yes,
now.
and our
Yes.
entire economy is based on these small things. It's not only tourism and mining, which is no more there. Okay, people cultivate their vegetables regularly, and that is how the people survive. It's not only the coastal Goa that
Correct.
the entire nation looks at the coastal Goa and think that is Goa. That is not Goa. Our interior Goa is the true Goa.
Right.
And we should understand how people live there. What are their needs?
Correct.
It's not only
Sure.
the coastal Goa.
So Baga Kalangut.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll go this direction now. But coming back to you, what do you see could be the solutions now? Is there any hope at this point of time, or do you see any way forward, even scientifically or legally or whatever, to?
No, first of all, in this matter, I find only the solution is, as Rajan Bhai said, that we should approach the Supreme Court for this matter. Otherwise, by making any sabhas, agitations and all will not work, will not stop this. Only the Supreme Court, if Supreme Court is convinced by some scientific ways, the tiger reserve is not only this one. Wildlife Protection Act gives protection to the water.
Water also, yes.
All.
That's a very important point.
All,
Yes,
no,
yes.
all type of sanctuaries or national park or whatsoever.
Right.
Protected areas are being allowed not to divert the water anywhere.
Right.
Because it is meant for wildlife. Then the question of stopping it at the top doesn't arise, as per my opinion.
Also, do you feel, Ramesh Bab, that when we are approaching the Supreme Court or NGT or whatever, we should think out of the box and not leave it only to say, with all due respect, just the AG and legal minds into it. I think the entire legal battle strategy should be fought by people on the ground who studied it.
That's
I mean, people like you, others, people who are well versed, with the topography, with hydrology, with wildlife, with the ground situation and so on and so forth. And they should be constantly kind of briefing it, because what happens is, currently, most of these briefings to the state lawyers and others are done either by department secretaries, ministers don't get into it, but mainly by department secretaries and directors. But the issue is, I think, more talent should be brought in to the fore, and there are more people who worked on the ground should come. See, House Committee will do its job, but I think more than a House Committee, a proper team which is going to aid the legal team, consisting of people from all walks of life, is more important to have a proper legal defense.
Yeah, that is true. That is what Rajendra was doing the thing.
Right.
While sending the report even to Delhi when they were going to Delhi to meet the authorities.
Right.
But that is a different thing. But what you said is that some people who are learned knows about the things. But one precondition is that there should be a holistic thinking. Not he is expert in his subject. It's fine. Fine, but he should have also an holistic approach to the issue.
Right.
That is where you can find a solution. Even if you go to the Supreme Court, let me tell you very frankly, also Rajendra will understand. There is a Supreme Court matter with Tamil Nadu and Karnataka.
Okay.
So wherever the Supreme Court used to give a verdict, the Karnataka used to have a violent agitations.
Absolutely,
And
correct.
then all those Supreme Court orders were nullified. So if this is a trend which is shown for 130 years, I used to say that the 130 years Karnataka has got an experience on fighting, how to fight. As far as
it is probably the only state which has all party buns.
all party buns.
Yes.
And Goa was yet to born.
Right.
And now we are trying to launch a war against Karnataka, the same Karnataka of 130 years of.
What you're essentially saying is they play this game very well. They understand this game very well.
Even.
Yes.
Not only that, but what I mean to say is now the Goa government has to prepare a team of scientists.
Exactly, correct. That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Team of scientists to work on everything: wildlife, hydrogeology, geology,
Correct.
then forests, everything, ecology. All this should be given the projects to the scientists, and the data should be collected, which is to be produced before.
And then go to court.
Yes.
Then go to court.
But
Or we should take the time from the court that we will make a study over this and do the things.
But there is one problem. I always say that, see, if it is done, the problem is with minings.
Okay.
The
Why do you say that?
whole data
Yeah.
will be then used on mines. Because as I said, only one on the Mandavi river.
Right.
Mandavi,
Right.
upper coast is Mhadei river.
Right.
And I say that, see, Mandavi, there are more than 27 mines which are operated during last time in 1 kilometers of distance.
Right.
And it generated 1,01,240 tons of waste every day.
Seriously?
This
This is within. No, I'm saying seriously out of shock, not out of anything.
That is what I say, and then that is
Yes.
it and there is a 29-degree gradient, just
Right,
imagine.
right.
And then so much of rainfall. Where will it go?
Could you
Where will
repeat that once again? What you just said?
I said that there are around 27.
Yeah.
27.
Uh-huh.
Largest are 10.
Yeah.
And which generates
27 mine leases.
leases which are
Active
under
leases.
operation.
Yeah, okay.
Under operation.
Active leases.
Under operation within 1 kilometer of the Mandavi.
Mandavi.
Okay. Okay,
And
okay, okay.
1,01,240 tons of waste was generated every day.
1 lakh?
1,01,240 tons.
My God.
Where will it find its last destination?
In the water.
Which?
Mandavi.
Mandavi.
Correct.
Mandavi.
Right.
So
right.
what is the status of Mandavi now? When you talked of bringing this one expert, that one, then all will focus to this kind of these problems, and then these problems will be a problem to the politician.
Right. Right.
So
right, right.
that is why where I am suspicious about.
Yes.
Will they use it?
Right.
Will
right.
they use this kind of the brains? Because ultimately it will have a boomerang.
No, but when these fresh mining auctions are happening, it will go back to the same issue.
Yeah, it is same.
Ultimately, the leases are not going anywhere. They'll have to mine in the same leases.
But then you have to choose.
Right.
This is my river.
Right.
As we talk, as we fight against Karnataka,
Right.
I'm also looking at the river with a positive attitude, scientific attitude, and if there are these many leases, I have to cut off that.
So what you're essentially saying is, while blaming Karnataka is right and just,
Yeah.
but at the same time we have to look at how we have treated our own rivers.
Khandepar. Now,
Correct,
Khandepar
correct,
is providing water to 36% of the Tuhua's population.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And it was installed to 1956 by
Right.
Portuguese.
Right.
What is the status of that?
Right.
There are 21 mining leases.
On Khandepar.
On Khandepar.
Right.
And therefore there is a problem. Instead of 200 turbidity units, 1,500 MTUs, that is turbidity units, it goes to, and which is difficult for filtration, and they get clogged. And in a rainy season, what we find is the tanks, lot of silt
I see.
of the people.
Right.
So now these are the problems which will be felt. Now Mandavi is gone, 6 talukas will be gone.
Right.
What is the state of this when Khandepar goes off?
Right.
Saravali also, Saravali, 4 mines were within the catchment area operating. 4. MN content is too high as per pollution control report. Then there are 16 mining leases which are within the catchment area
Of
Saravali dam.
Okay.
So now Saravali is only because there are 538 square kilometer of the forest area.
Right.
And that is why the dam is there.
Right.
Now what are you going to do?
So what you're saying that when mining restarts and auctioning of leases happens, it'll all come back to the same issue.
Same issue.
Right.
Same issue.
Right.
So I am looking at Mhadei not only in isolation.
Right.
I'm looking at all these water bodies.
Right.
Now this Bicholim river, freshwater river, would have been gone for dogs by now because it is 15 years past.
Right.
I fought it in the Delhi High Court 3 times, and then I could save it. Otherwise it would have gone. But no government. I wrote number of applications to Water Resource Minister, Chief Minister. Nothing doing. If this is the approach, the same will float in when you are talking about Mhadei.
There. Rajmab, your thoughts on what? Ramesh
Actually, now the DPR that is approved by the Central Water Commission, you look at it, then you will find Karnataka done a big trick, wherein earlier 364 forest was to be destroyed. Now they brought it to the just 61 hectare, and the height of the dam also is reduced by them. So in this condition, how you will going to oppose this? So there is a, you can see in Viridi, Sakri, what happened, the large crowd was there from various part of Goa. But during the same time in Sattari, the memorandum people were signing, wherein the people in the areas were opposing wildlife sanctuary, and they requesting the Goa government that there are mining leases here, and this mining is the life like them,
Lifeline.
like
River
that.
is not the lifeline, mining is the lifeline.
Yeah,
Yes,
when the
Backbone of
mangrove
Goa's
is
economy.
going on. So this
right.
indicate
Right.
that the future of the Goa is very threatened
Big.
unless and until we focus on all this issue. Very difficult to fight with the Karnataka. So only
We have to set our own house in order.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
one simple
Wait,
this thing.
sure.
See, when they were trying to have a bandara on Khandepa River,
Right.
Water Resource Department, they said, oh, otherwise it flows into the Arabian Sea.
Arabian Sea,
So
yes.
the fresh water is wasted in the Arabian Sea. Then it is necessary to build it. Same is the logic used by Karnataka. Whole water moves into Arabian Sea. So we are using it in this way.
They use the same logic and got the
Same
water.
logic.
Correct. Okay, we'll do this last round of summing up. I'll start with you, Dr. Manoj. Essentially, on what are we looking at? Even if we look at a solution-based approach, though there are impediments to it. As a professional, why don't you just throw a little light on the way forward as far as you are concerned?
First thing, if we have to win this battle, we need scientific data, and that has to be generated. For example, simple things like river gauging stations, rainfall stations. There should be many more stations. There should be scientists working on each ecological aspect, each ecosystem in the Mhadei sanctuary entirely, understanding the delicate balance in the nature and how we need to preserve it. Then just opposing them, for the sake of doing it, just saying, we have to also understand that if whether they have their resources or not. There is such a large Tungabhadra reservoir which can easily provide water to all
Absolutely.
the states,
There's no doubt about
all
that.
the
Correct.
towns
Yes.
that they talk about.
Yes, yes.
Why there is no logic in that?
Right.
Why? It is very clear that they are going to use it for irrigation purpose. It's not drinking water that they need.
Totally correct. Yes.
So
yes.
they are misguiding the entire system. So we have to pinpoint these issues in front of the authorities.
Correct.
And understand ourselves also that we have to correct ourselves. We cannot go on building dams as opposing them.
Right.
So
right.
those type of things should not be done at all, and it will just go against us
Right.
in the
Courts or
court
whatever.
of law.
Yeah, correct. Prakash Bab, can you just essentially at least give some points on the way forward and what we need to do so that we win not only in court but in people's perceptions, and we win this battle with our wildlife and our ecology intact?
In fact, first of all, we have to prepare a report on the Wildlife Protection Act 1927, how this water can be, water is useful for the wildlife
Right.
within the limits of Mhadei Wildlife Sanctuary
Yes.
and around.
Right.
So, all these perspectives should be
Right.
noted by scientific means.
Right.
And this particular thing has to be done by the government because the individuals cannot do that. Even scientists so many scientists like our Ibrahim Burkar, he cannot spend his own money and get it done.
Of course, correct.
Because it is very difficult, it's not a time consuming job.
Correct.
That government should get it done
Absolutely.
from these people only.
Correct.
Those who are
But they must be professionally engaged and the
Yes,
government should back it. Yes. yes.
back into it.
Correct.
And the scientific data, once it is cleared, everything will set all right. Now he was telling about the small dams. Now OPA Waterworks doesn't have shortage of water only because
Right.
there are 14 dams starting from the edge of Bhagwan Mahavir Wildlife Sanctuary. During my tenure in Bhagwan Mahavir Wildlife Sanctuary, I have asked them not to put any dam within the limits of the sanctuary, but start it outside the wildlife sanctuary.
Right.
And these 14 dams were established from Kolem to Okambi, that
Right.
is near Uzgaon.
Right. Right.
All these 14 dams, now they are putting this one barriers, the water stops.
Right.
And there is no, a shortage of water at Opa. On the contrary, during the rainy season, they open the dams.
Right,
So that
right.
there should not be any impact.
Impact, correct, correct.
So, Mhadei also can be done. When small dams are done, it protects all the things, as he said, people's life, the ecology, and everything. Even forest on the border of the dam is not affected.
Right.
It is enhanced.
Right. Very important points. Ramesh, your closing remarks, way forward. Can sum up.
I'm very much doubtful about
Way forward.
Way forward.
How?
Because the see, whatever that discussion is taking place in the assembly,
Right.
and other
Right.
things are happening.
Yes.
A committee is installed. Committee
House
is
committee has been,
constituted.
yes,
House committee.
yes, yes.
Now, are they expert? The question
Absolutely,
is,
correct.
House committee members, are they expert? Now, it is only a dodging thing, just dragging the matter
Right.
so that people get schooled.
It's a committee of politicians. It's not a committee of experts.
Then
It's-
that
it's-
same fellows.
Right.
How can you expect them to have expertise
Right.
if they are chosen from the house or
Correct. Yes, they are not subject
they
experts
are
at all.
not
Correct.
subject
Right.
experts. So
Right.
again, you are getting into the same trap, which is not going to give you any kind of a solution. Now the brain which will be going to the Supreme Court should also be enlightened
Right.
by
right.
the persons like Rajendra also, and brief. It's
All
not-
of you all have a part to play,
yeah,
and many
it-
people like you. all.
it is,
Correct,
it is
yes.
it is not only
Yes.
legal arguments.
Right.
You have to also go
Very
outside
important.
there.
That was the reason why I did this discussion.
Yeah.
It has to go beyond hardcore legal
Yes,
arguments.
and that is very much essential and important.
Yes.
You take the help of even the expertise are not available here.
Take it from outside, correct.
Take it from
Yes, yes,
other
yes,
side.
correct.
There is CSE, there is TERI, there
Correct.
is NEERI.
Correct.
Whoever it is,
That's true.
You get it because they are
That is money well spent, rather
Yeah.
than paying on lawyers' fees. This is money well spent. First.
rather using it for
Yes.
coronation ceremony, 6
Crores.
crore rupees. This kind of the thing should be used to
Correct.
spend.
Correct. Rajin Bab, your final sum up points.
Actually, when the Karnataka started with the damming and diversion project way back in 1973, their plan was to dam most of the all tributaries river coming to Goa. So then we approached to the Sierra Club, and because we put before the Sierra Club that 700 square kilometer of the forested area from Goa, Maharashtra, Karnataka will be submerged. So the Sierra Club then approached the World Bank, convinced them, and World Bank withdrawn to fund the Karnataka. So then S.M. Krishna came up with the Karnataka Neeravari Nigam. So now this Karnataka Neeravari Nigam intelligently came up with the small dams. So in order to stop the plan of the Karnataka, we can achieve success. But what Goa government will going to do with the 8.2 TMC feet of the hydroelectricity project which they are planning in the Zamboti Ghat, that is on Kotni. So here they have to do the study in the angle of the pistachio cone, where you can see the Mahasir fishes are there. So damming or impounding the water will have the serious implication on all this life form. And if the just like we stop the Karnataka's mega project, in the same way we can stop the mega hydroelectricity project that is coming up in this area by putting forward the scientific information well documented by the scientists.
Okay. Yeah, so we've kind of run out of time, but I think before we sum up, finally, one would like to draw attention to one simple fact. Everybody, every politician, most environmentalists, activists, everybody describes the Mhadei as a mother, and we call it my mother Mhadei, so on and so forth. Now, while that is a very sentimental, emotional, and a justified argument, but unfortunately, using that just as a political slogan or a political like a handle itself will not work, because while the emotion is justified, leaving the argument with just saying Mhadei is is a mother and it is a right, this argument ultimately may not be enough to legally and ecologically fight this battle. The point is, when you are going to your respective bodies, whether it is the NGT or the Supreme Court or what have you, you need to kind of convince them that there is going to be a severe devastation to our ecology and environment in a quantified manner, not in a general manner.
Yeah.
Because what you tell a crowd of 10,000 people in a rally in Sattari, which is important in its own way, that language or that argument cannot be enough in a court of law. But for that you need, as all our eminent panelists have said, there has to be quantified data and information which ultimately will prove your overall point. If you are saying ecology will be destroyed, 100% will be destroyed, but lead up to that argument through cogent stats.
Yes.
Don't just say it as a slogan and leave it at that. That's most important.
Absolutely.
Yes.
At the same time, what is most important is that you have the protection of acts like the Wildlife Protection Act, the Forest Act, and so on and so forth. What is important here is that establish the fact that this diversion of water will lead to an absolute destruction in the wildlife and those bodies completely. When you do that, then the impact of the diversion will become very, very clear. So the idea is that what is very clear here is that Karnataka is playing a very well established game through people who are experts at managing the whole thing politically and as well as legally. We cannot beat Karnataka in their political machinations, because at the end of the day, with 28 MPs, elections coming up, the political game is very clear. So if Goa tries to match the political game with a political game, do understand that they may be both double engine sarkars, but one is a favorite double engine sarkar, and the other is a smaller double engine sarkar, which need not be looked at this point of time. So let us look at, I mean, that is what people are saying, and this is an argument that is not coming from us, it's coming generally from everywhere. But that argument may be right, but you cannot win that argument, or you cannot win that battle. The battle only has to be done only through data and studies. That is very, very important. So I think on this note, and whatever I'm saying right now is essentially encompassing all that our eminent panelists have said. I'm just merely summing up what they are saying, and I think that indeed is the way forward. That we need to look at this and involve people across ideologies and dispensations and so on and so forth. Forget everything else. But my point is, if this is so serious to us, then get Goa's sons and daughters of the soil who understand these subjects from all walks of life and together fight it as a team, because this cannot be a political battle, and if it has to be a legal battle, it has to be a scientific battle for the legal battle to be won. On this note, I thank all our eminent panelists who have shed so much of light into the matter and opened up a lot of doubts and grey areas with so much clarity. I thank them all for their valuable time, and let's hope that we keep this discussion going and for the ultimate victory of the people of Goa.